In this demonstration I'm going to show you how to import data from an external source. Let's consider the scenario whereby you have your actuals in your accounting system and you want to import them into DBBudget. Now there are two ways we can do this. We can either export into an Excel file and import into DBBudget, or we can create a direct connection from DBBudget to the source system and import like that. So I'm going to show you the latter of those using a direct connection to the source data. So if I choose Budget Actions, Import Data, I've actually prepared all the configuration previously to save time, so I'm going to step you through the elements of the import configuration. So select Import Actuals, select Edit. As you can see, I've given it a name. Source type, I've chosen a query because I'm going to create a query to the source system, and load type, I've chosen Replace Selected Data, which means I want to delete certain bits of data before re-importing the data. If I was to just purely append to existing data, if I imported the actuals more than once, I've run the risk of duplicating up the data in the database. And I can choose here what data to delete. So as you can see, it says delete everything where in the Dimension budget versions the name member is actuals, so that will clear out all our actuals before we import new actuals. Let's look at the query. I've got a query called Import Actuals, and I've got a connection called Sage because the source data is in a Sage database, and there I've got the information about how to connect to the database. It's Microsoft Jet, and there's the path to the database file. I could also choose other database types. And then I've got a SQL statement here, which is the SQL statement it's going to execute against the source database to extract the data. And then let's have a look at the mappings. So this tells DBBudget how to map from the codes in the source system to the codes within DBBudget. Again, I can define multiple mappings. Click on this one. Now if I choose, let's have a look at months actually. If I choose months, click the Edit Mapping button, and as you can see, it opens an Excel spreadsheet with the mapping entries in the Excel spreadsheet. So it says in the source system where the value is 1, that's going to map to 001 January, which is the code within DBBudget. And as you can see, I have a list of the potential values within DBBudget to map to here. So what I can do is I can either edit these, I can delete them, I can append new items, and what I can also do is I can map more than one code in the source system to a single code within DBBudget. Once I'm happy, I can click the Submit button and it sends it back to the database. And now let's run the import. The database has a password against it, so I've put in the credentials to access the database, and it's now executing a query and importing the data into DBBudget. When it's finished, it will throw me a dialog box telling me that it's done so. There we go. So it says import complete. Let's have a quick look at what that looks like in Excel. So let's choose from the budget menu, open budget template, profit and loss, click the open. DBBudget draws me the profit and loss template, and as you can see, there is now data in the system, so that's been imported from that Sage application.